My life just before joining the program was just work and watching porn. I have been struggling with porn addiction for 5 to 6 years approximately. After a bit of a rough relationship that I went through, which left me quite traumatized, I wasn't able to go days or weeks without watching porn. I started to realize I have a bit of an issue. It's starting to get out of control. The compulsion is too strong. I didn't want to feel vulnerable enough to say I have a problem and I need help. I was a bit in a state of desperation and I was in a state of despair for most of it. I didn't think I could beat this problem. We try everything. All the willpower strategies that are available to us, we try berating ourselves or shaming ourselves to death, saying we're never going to watch porn again, heavily in active addiction, trying to count number of days and just be stuck in a really bad place. And I think as many men get to that age of 30, they have a bit of a shock to the system when they realize their life didn't play out the way they wanted to. To be honest, my life has significantly improved since joining. Of course, the main thing is like being sober. I've been sober over 100 days now. So over time, it's just like gaining more and more skills and more tools that make sobriety easier day by day. I've developed a really healthier social life where I can get connection, I can get love, I can do things outside of my life other than just work. I feel overall my personal growth as a man has been huge. By being part of this program, I've learned so much about life and myself, how to relate to others, and just got skills that have made me more mature emotionally. Just my personal growth has been so huge from joining this program that I think without it I would have been stuck. I would have been repeating patterns that I've been doing for years, and overall my quality of life has improved significantly. To be honest, if you have doubts about joining the program, just try it, just see, and you'll see that many people in the program have been where you are in this moment of your life. There's no way of beating this on your own, and I truly believe that being part of a community of other men who've done it is the best way forward. Join the program and don't ask too many questions.
Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back. I have a really cool video that I'm excited to bring you today. We're going to be interviewing one of the clients for my Orbital Recovery Mentorship Program, Pedro, who has a very cool story that I'm very excited to bring to you. One of the hallmarks of Pedro's journey is something that I want to share with all of you, which is that progressive victory over time is what freedom and success over this problem looks like for the vast majority of people. And in this interview today, we're going to get a chance to dive a little bit deeper into unpacking what that looks like through a very realistic and very inspirational snapshot of what a recovery journey from this problem looks like. So without further ado, welcome, Pedro. And to kick us off, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought you into Orbital?
Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate you inviting me to talk about my journey and experience. Obviously, my name is Pedro. I am 33 years old. And I have been struggling before joining Orbital with porn addiction for maybe 6 years, 5 to 6 years approximately. And I hadn't really had this issue before my late 20s. Growing up, it wasn't something that was an addiction, but it was something, of course, that many young boys were exposed to, although it wasn't a kind of compulsion. But it kind of started to develop when I was 25 years old after a bit of a rough relationship that I went through, which left me quite traumatized. Although at the beginning, I didn't realize why I had this addiction. I thought that it was just something that kind of manifested randomly. Although as time went by and I started to realize that this is starting to get out of control, the compulsion is too strong. I wasn't able to go days or weeks without watching porn. I started to realize I have a bit of an issue. It wasn't until I turned around 30 years old where I thought this is something I need to kind of take care of. And I think as many men get to that age of 30, they have a bit of let's say, a shock to the system when they realize their life didn't maybe play out the way they wanted to. So I was a bit in a state of desperation. And as many people say, the gift of desperation can be something powerful and positive. So I started to seek out different forms of help. The types of help that I found didn't really give me the results I wanted. And I was in a state of despair for most of it. I didn't think I could beat this problem. But I was really blessed and fortunate enough to come across your videos on YouTube, especially one of the longer videos that you had about explaining what porn addiction is and how it's more than just a sex problem or a problem to do with watching porn. It's something a bit deeper, and how porn is actually the solution to a deeper problem, and how in order to beat the addiction or transcend the addiction, you have to address your life holistically. And that's something that kind of resonated with me more, and I was really excited to understand your ways and your methods. And I booked a call with you. Actually, I didn't join the program immediately after our first call because I thought, let me give it another shot and do this on my own. And within a month, I relapsed multiple times. So yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just join this program. I'm gonna take a leap of faith. I have nothing to lose, and I've been, very lucky and fortunate to have a mentor like yourself, and also a big community to lean on and give me the results I was looking for. So that's a bit of the introduction and background of how I came about to your program and my background with the porn addiction.
Yeah, awesome. And what were some of the things that you tried before Orbital that didn't work?
So at first, I was like, as you see with many of your clients that first come in, we try everything. All the willpower strategies that are available to us, we try. We try berating ourselves or shaming ourselves to death, saying we're never going to watch porn again. So that was the first thing I tried, like threatening myself or swearing an oath, saying I'm never going to watch porn again. So that's what I tried first. And then I tried seeking like these applications on iPhone, like those like tracking applications or porn applications that help you to quit on your own kind of thing. And then I started to seek more individual help from like a counselor or a therapist. And I didn't find any benefit to that. I was just talking about the problem, talking about the problem, talking about the problem, but no clear like guidelines, framework, or tools to get to sobriety. I felt like I was still doing this all on my own, even though I was speaking to somebody about it. Yeah, and then I was like, this is not working. I need to try something else. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with Orbital. I didn't have any expectations, but I gave it a shot, and luckily Orbital gave me the tools and the resources that I needed to get to the place I am today.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know this, of course, being in the program now, meeting a bunch of other guys who struggled with this problem and hearing my own story and stuff like that, stuff becomes a lot
Mhm.
more clear that the standard pathway for a lot of guys is they try willpower, they try discipline, they try self-punishment of like taking cold
Mhm.
showers, they try to exercise their way out of it, they try to use
Mhm.
blockers, they try to use apps, which to
Mhm.
me is kind of comical. Then they try to also, escalate to like therapy. And that's where I think it can get very discouraging for guys because it's often marketed as the gold standard for helping people to solve their problems. And I'm certainly not against therapy, like you certainly know that. And in general, therapy is good for surgically addressing some of the parts that drive porn addiction, but it's not the tool for the job when it comes
Mhm.
to giving people the support, the guidance, the tools, the accountability, and everything that addresses the holistic picture of addiction. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of take a moment to say that your experience followed that to a T. So now that you're inside of Orbital, fast forward to today, what does your
Mhm.
life look like now?
So I've been in Orbital since January 2025. So I've been in the program over a year. To be honest, my life has significantly improved since joining. Even from the first moment, from the first week, I could feel like, okay, this is like something really powerful. This is like, I can get a lot of benefit and value from being part of this program. The first few months, I was just really grateful to be part of a community of other men who are working on themselves and trying to overcome this addiction. I was able to like, join those weekly calls that we have and connect with them and form a type of brotherhood and people I can rely on and they can rely on me to help them through difficult times. So that was one of the things that helped to improve the quality of my life till today, and obviously at the beginning especially. Other than that, going through the schoolwork that you've developed improved my understanding of myself and the way that I relate to myself and the way that I relate to this problem of addiction. So I feel like being part of Orbital, my life has improved in terms of my ability to relate to myself and my emotional understanding of myself and how to relate to others. For example, when we do the calls on Saturday, you've given us a good framework of how to speak to each other. For example, to listen attentively, to lead with questions, to be curious, to use, motivational interviewing techniques. And I feel like that's just such a healthy way to speak to anybody outside, even just with your friends and your family. So that was another tool that, I have in my locker now after being part of the program that even in my work and my family and my friends I can use. So I've learned new tools of how to communicate. Of course, the main thing is like being sober. I've been sober over 100 days now. And last year, I was sober like 98 or 95% of the time, which was like the lowest amount of consumption of porn I've had in the past 5 to 6 years. So that was another benefit and area of my life that's improved. There's many, but the one last thing I'm going to talk about is being part of the program made me see that my life was so small before joining it. So my life just before joining the program was just work and watching porn. So being part of the program allowed me to open up my life a bit more and improve certain areas, especially my social life. It was an area that was very weak or very like deprived. I didn't have a lot of connection. I didn't have a lot of friends where I live. A lot of my friends have live in different areas or moved on, and I was lacking that. And being part of the program, especially doing one of the modules, which is about our social life and social status, it kind of like pushed me to try and improve my social life and make new friends. And as a consequence of being part of this program, yeah, I've developed a really healthy or healthier social life where, I can get connection, I can get love, I can do things outside of my life other than just work. So yeah, those are some of the main areas where I've developed and improved in.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mhm.
And one of the parts of your story that I really wanted to emphasize was something that I think for a lot of guys, they would initially hear almost as like discouraging in the
Mhm.
sense that freedom from this problem typically looks like progressive victory over time until
Mhm.
we start to see what that looks like in the long run. And then it's like, oh, wait,
Mhm.
no, this actually makes so much sense. With your story, right? Like you mentioned, your first year working inside of Orbital, we saw like a 95, 97% reduction in overall
Mm.
porn use. Huge. Like we put that on a
Yeah.
graph and it's like, that's a massive reduction. And then now we're sitting here talking where you're over 100 days free. So I'm
Mhm.
curious if you could tell us a little bit more about like what was this journey of progressive victory? What did it look like for you? What were
Mhm.
some of the challenges you were facing and maybe what helped to kind of shift over time to get you
Mhm.
to where you are now?
Sure, yeah, that's a really good question, Nate. Thanks for asking that. I guess like any endeavor, any type of attempt to improve something, it's kind of an iterative process. It's very rare for anyone in life or, for example, in addiction to go like from day one to day 100 easily just sober. So for me, it kind of looked like going 30 days sober, a relapse, going 40 days sober, relapse, going 50 days, going 60 days, etc. And I guess each iterative process or each number of days sober, I was learning something new. And I was going through the program and going through the schoolwork and joining the community and learning things each day, each week that was giving me more and more strength to maintain sobriety. For example, like let's say the first 2, 3 months, I realized that maybe my blocker system was weak compared to maybe what the program requires. So that was one area that I had to improve. So then after that, my blocker system is a bit healthier, which gives me more space to do other types of recovery work and use different tools. For example, after the first 3 months now, I have a better way to deal with urges because of the urge protocol that's in the program. So now I have better blocker systems and I have better ways to deal with my urges. After 6 months, the compulsion is just weaker as a consequence of being more sober. That's improved. And then I have other tools to use, which is like increasing my social life, improving my social life, being more connected to the people in the community. So over time, it's just like gaining more and more skills and more tools that make sobriety easier day by day. So I guess that's maybe the best way I can explain my journey so far.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, and this is the holistic approach, right? To solve a problem like this, people get into recovery, and one of the biggest mindset shifts that has to break when we get into recovery is this idea that the solution to our problem is just to quit porn. Like, I just got
Mhm.
to get the porn out of my life. I just got to figure out how to deal
Yeah.
with the urge, and then everything's going to be
Yeah.
fine. And we come to
Mhm.
find out that actually the reason why porn is here is because it's a symptom of the system that is our life, like this complex
Exactly.
web that is producing pornography as a symptom. It's a consequence of a problem. And addressing the problem looks like addressing this part over here and then this thing
Yes.
over here, adding this tool in. So it's changing things
Yeah.
slowly over time, but we're really doing this
Mm.
like deeper transformation work of transforming you and your entire life. And so I
Yes.
think you spoke really well to that just now in terms of describing kind of practically what that looks like. Last couple of questions here for you. I'm curious if there was anything you came across in the program, whether it was a specific tool, a mindset shift, or some other element of the program that you felt like was particularly transformative for you.
To be honest, there's so many things on the program that I like. All the time I'm finding and all the time I'm learning about something new, and you're always updating the program and always giving us new literature to read and new things to implement. So I guess the things that are coming up at the moment or like instinctively coming up is obviously understanding what you said is that porn is a symptom of a problem. That was one of the first like, okay, wow, that's a really interesting thing. I didn't hear that before. And then, of course, understanding that to address the problem is, like you said, to address the different needs that are being deprived in your life, whether that's like a physical need, an emotional need, or a social need, and understanding that the problem is more than just the porn. So that was something that was very important for me to understand. I guess obviously the new trainings that have been uploaded about understanding ourselves in terms of like a IFS model has been good for me at the moment and currently since I'm a bit more advanced in my recovery and understanding how I can continue to improve and develop myself overall and how to relate to myself better. So that's something that's been really good in understanding how we have to create a life where our needs are met in a healthy way and try to satisfy them and not leave any areas deprived because as a consequence of being deprived in certain areas these problems start to develop like porn addiction. So that's something like a holistic framework that's been really good for me to understand in more current day. But I think in the beginning of the program just understanding how addiction is lost, but there's also more than that as well. It's more than just watching porn. So those are the things that I can instinctively come out and talk about at the moment.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mm.
And where do you feel like you would
Mm.
be today without this program?
Honestly, I think I'd still be stuck. I still think I'd be, trying to fight this problem rather than be in the place that I am today where, I have the tools to deal with it. So I think I'd still be heavily in active addiction, trying to use willpower strategies to beat this, trying to count number of days and just be stuck in a really bad place. And so I think being part of this program has given me sobriety, but it's also given me more than just sobriety. I feel overall my personal growth as a man has been huge by being part of this program. I've learned so much about life and myself and how to relate to others and just got skills that have made me more mature emotionally. Yeah, I guess my personal growth has been so huge from joining this program that I think without it I would have been stuck. I would have been, repeating patterns that I've been doing for years. And yeah, my life would have been a lot worse without it. So I think overall my quality of life has improved significantly from being part of this program.
And do you feel like investing in Orbital gave you a positive return?
Yes, 100%. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. Mhm.
And what advice would you give to somebody who is where you were prior to joining the program?
Join the program and don't ask too many questions. To be honest, like if you have doubts about joining the program, just try it, just see, and you'll see that many people in the program have been where you are in this moment of your life. We've all been in active addiction. We've all thought, we're never gonna beat this. But once joining the program, you see that there's many guys that have done it and are doing it and are gonna reach the goals that you dream of. So yeah, I'd just say if anyone is listening to this or is considering joining Orbital, take it from me. Actually, don't take it from me. Join, and you see that there's so much benefit to it, and there's many people who are where you want to be in life. So
Yeah. And what would you want them to know about taking the leap, investing in themselves, and actually
mhm.
making the journey?
I think you're gonna find by joining the program, you're gonna find a good group of men who are willing to support you and who are gonna show you the path to recovery. And yeah, it's gonna be a really good investment for your future, independent of your age or your background. You're gonna develop significantly in all areas of life. So I think that would be something that they could expect as results from joining this program.
And any final
Mhm.
thoughts that you would want to share? that we didn't cover
Mhm.
today?
The final things maybe I would say is that trying to beat this addiction on your own by using willpower or using shame or whatever tools is just going to leave you, worse off. There's no shame in asking for help and trying to do this with a group of men or a group of people. One of my hesitations, for example, was I didn't want to feel like vulnerable enough to say I have a problem and I need help. So there's no way of beating this on your own. And I truly, truly believe that being part of a community of other men who've done it is the best way forward. So I think those are my final words.
Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much for taking some time here to share your story and walk through what your experience has been like inside of Orbital. And I'll just definitely say from my end, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you in the program and to watch this transformation happen and to get to be a part of this journey with you. And so I'm
Mhm.
very excited to continue this journey and help you to continue to grow your recovery. And I'm very much looking forward to your story and your journey getting out there and helping another guy get a chance to break free from this problem. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Nate. I appreciate it so much.